I'm sure you're familiar with it. Imposter syndrome, decision fatigue, feeling overwhelmed, lonely, tired, and unsure. If you're a cosmetic nurse practitioner, entrepreneur, these are words that you know like the back of your hand. But also, excitement and the desire to just give it a try anyway and take the risk because anything's got to be better than what you've already experienced. If you're new here, this is where we go beyond technical skills, the injections, the lasers, the procedures, and talk about what it really means to fill gaps in the cosmetic industry that everyone says is so saturated. I think you just need to know where to look. Today, I'm going to talk to you about how thinking about your business can help set you apart in a very saturated and competitive market. I want to tell you about HaloBraid, an automated hair braiding technology that just launched. And before you click and think, I don't braid hair, why should I care? Stay with me because this innovation is a masterclass in the exact business principle every cosmetic NP needs to understand, especially if you relate it to those feelings, because one of the number one feelings is not having enough time in the day. And here we're going to talk about some lessons in efficiency from our friends at HaloBraid. We're going to break down what they can teach us when it comes to efficiency, scalability, technology integration, and competitive positioning. And by the end of this episode, you're going to have a completely new framework for evaluating how you run your business. So let me go over the 5 big lessons that we're going to go over today that's going to change how you think about the cosmetic industry. Number 1, identify your busy work. What are you doing that doesn't require your expertise? 2, time is your most valuable asset. How can you protect it ruthlessly? Number 3, technology should amplify your artistry, not replace it. The role of automation in personal services. Number 4, scalability requires breaking the time for money model. How to grow without working more hours, how to make more money without seeing more patients. And number 5, innovation in adjacent industries can predict your future. Why you need to pay attention to what's happening outside your clinic walls. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Dr. Kimberly Madison, a doctorally prepared nurse practitioner and the founder of the Alliance of Cosmetic Nurse Practitioners, which is a professional membership for nurse practitioners who specialize in cosmetics and entrepreneurship, who have a desire to build something on the side or start their own empire. We pick up where your weekend course, your on-demand training, or your academic program leaves off, because what do we know? Your first question is never your last question. And where do you go when you need questions? Well, we hope you come here to the Alliance. We provide that ongoing mentorship and coaching and tips like batch contenting so you can stay consistent and persistent, so that you can attract the right people and you can live the life you work so hard for. You can join the waitlist right now by clicking on the link below. Depending on when you watch this, especially if you're watching in early December 2025, the doors are going to be open soon to membership. Right now, I want to take the time to congratulate one of our founding members of the Alliance, Jasmine Lundrum, Dr. Jasmine Lundrum. She just had her soft launch for her business, Phoenix Aesthetics, right there in Richmond, Virginia. We want to congratulate her. We'll put her link in the description box too. We're so proud of our founding members. We won't have access to being founding members for long. That opportunity is going to be closing when the new year starts. So make sure you join the waitlist so you can receive an exclusive invitation to join us when those doors do officially open. Every week we come on here and I answer your questions live when I do batch contenting. So today we're doing 8 episodes. This is episode number 2. If you didn't join us last week, we went over the HR 1 Big Beautiful Bill, breaking that down, what it means for you, specifically for those of us who have gone on to get doctoral degrees and then have to pay back loans, but also what it means for our patients and how the changes in the bill are going to decrease access to coverage for them, but how that opens a door for those of us who are in the business of innovation and creating solutions to problems, which if you listen to me long enough, I want you to see yourself as a problem solver. If you're a problem solver, that means you can solve problems anywhere at any time for anyone. Once you have that identity in place, you can do anything, including listening to this episode on HaloBraid and how you can introduce tech into your business plan and how you can buy back your time. So before we jump into this, we're going to do our devotional. So every week we come on, I answer your questions in real time so you don't have to schedule an appointment. Wait for me to respond to your email. and I answer your questions. The whole business was built on helping you guys show up every day, taking care of your patients, showing up every day, taking care of your family, and continue to build your business out. And so some of the things that we promote here are personal health, financial health, and spirituality. And part of that is me sharing some of mine with you. And so we always open up our videos with either a prayer or devotional. And so we'll do that right now. Recalling God's faithfulness in the past helps us trust Him in the future. Even when faced with worst case scenarios, God is not surprised. He's already gone before you. No matter what happens, life's trials and difficulties will not get the final say. God is still powerful, still providing, and still protecting you. And nothing can stand against our God. So today, as you think back on your life, which is a wonderful time to do that as we close out this year, how have you seen God's faithfulness? How can those memories help you trust Him as we step into 2026? Sorry, I put you on mute there. I needed to clear my throat. When it gets cold, like I have asthma, and so when it gets cold, even here in Texas, I start to do a lot more coughing. Before we take off, I forget, like I said, we're in the beginning of December at the time that you're watching this. And if you are a cosmetic nurse practitioner and you're ready to stop figuring it out on your own, those emotions that I went over in the beginning, I said them because we all experience them. The loneliness, the imposter syndrome. I'm hosting a free workshop this month called the Cosmetic NP Career Blueprint. We're going to go over 10 profitable pathways beyond Botox. Because look, either you don't have the money or you to the $2,000+ to take your first Botox class, you can't find mentorship, you've applied but you haven't been able to get a job, or where you're at either in your family, your career, or your education, you might be able to take that Botox course, but you're not able to actually start practicing. And you're wondering, how can you take the first step to change your life? So we're going to go over 10 ways that you might not have thought about that have nothing to do with Botox, that allows you to be part of the cosmetic industry, that you don't need another degree or another certification, and that you can start to generate multiple streams of revenue. Even if you're already in the business, and maybe you're one of those people who's struggling to get clients through the door. People are getting fired. People are losing their benefits. It's the holiday season, so you might not be seeing the same volume of patients walking through. And you too, you're trying to break even. You're trying to figure out how you can keep your overhead, how you can keep paying your staff on time. You're also looking for alternative ways because maybe you also want to start stepping away a little bit. Maybe you want to spend more time at home, less time at the clinic, and let some of your other staff kind of step in and be more present so that you can be more present at home. And so you too need another way to make money that doesn't require you to see more patients. This workshop is also for you. Excuse me. So I'll be teaching 3 live sessions on December 15th, the 18th, and the 19th. Just comment below money and I'll send you the link directly. Okay, so let me tell you what HaloBraid is. If you're familiar with it, let us know in the comments what you know about it. And I'm going to tell you why it matters for you. I only bring you things that I think can help you, not only with all those feelings that we went over in the beginning, but to address those comments and even the own concerns that you have when it comes to the industry being saturated and competitive, which I think you just have to know where to look. And this is one of those cases. So HaloBraid, it's the world's first intelligent automated hair braiding assistant, co-founded by Yinka, who's a biomechanical engineer and a lifelong braider. And here's the problem that she set out to solve. If you've ever gotten braids, box braids, cornrows, knotless braids, you know the appointment takes hours. We're talking 4 to 8 hours in a chair. It's time intensive for the client. It's physically exhausting for the stylist, and it creates a ceiling on how many clients that braider can see in a day. Most braiders might be able to do 1 to 2 clients per day for complex styles, and the physical toll, as you can imagine, is real. Carpal tunnel, chronic wrist pain, back problems from hunching over for hours. The business model looks like this: high skill requirement, extreme time investment, physical strain, limited scalability because you can't do more than that 1 or 2 clients a day. Pricing pressure, despite the skill, many braiders underprice because of market competition. Does that sound familiar? Because this is exactly what you're facing. If you're a nurse practitioner who specializes in cosmetics, you've felt this personally, or you've heard about it, especially in the group chat. And what I love about this story, in addition to helping you get your time back, because we're talking about lessons in efficiency, is this biomechanical engineering. Back at the end of October, November, we did the Beyond the Needle series on the Mahogany Dermatology blog, where we talked to you about different ways that you can, again, practice in the industry as a cosmetic nurse practitioner, as a cosmetic chemist, as a biomedical engineer, as a chemical engineer. And I think we did 4 or 5. And so this is right in alignment with that. And we broke down the history of each of those professions, the pathway to get in, and the pros and cons, right? I'm not here to just sell you one thing. I want you to always be as informed as possible so you can make a well-informed decision about the investment that you're about to make, either with your time or your money, 2 things you cannot get back. Which is what I want you to do. That's that spirit of inquiry that's at the foundation of nursing practice that carries throughout everything. You can find that series on the Mahogany Dermatology blog. We're actually going to get into that in the next episode. So depending on when you're watching this, it might already be available in the Aesthetic and NP Entrepreneur playlist, where we kind of talk about what it means to be a cosmetic nurse practitioner. So HaloBraid. It automates that repetitive, time-consuming part of braiding, the braid down or the installation phase. It doesn't replace the braider's artistry, consultation, or finishing work. It handles the mechanical, repetitive middle work. The value proposition, well, it's going to reduce appointment time from hours to minutes. It provides gentle, no-pull technique, which is better for patient comfort. And look, those of us who are trying to prevent alopecia, we like to hear that too. Consistent quality eliminates variability in tension and technique. You can sell a much more premium outcome, reduces physical strain on the stylist, and it allows you to see multiple clients in a day, potentially 5 to 6 more. Now, why am I telling you this? Okay, because this reminds me of conversations I've heard from other leaders in beauty and business, like Myron Golden. He talks about working smarter, not harder. And Emma Greed, who we've covered here on the channel, she's the brains behind Skims and Good American. Skims is body wear. Girdles have been out for decades. Good American, jeans and luxury wear, undergarments, again, a very saturated market. She identified, both of them, inefficiencies in an industry. HaloBraid, they did the same thing. They took a traditional service and asked, how can technology make this better? So the first big lesson, every practice has its braid down, something that's very time consuming and repetitive that doesn't require high level expertise. For braiders, it's the hours of that mechanical installation. For you, what is it going to be? Let's see. Your busy work might be numbing time management. Are you sitting there for 20 to 30 minutes while topical anesthetic takes effect? Or could a trained tech apply it in the moment that the patient arrives so that when you walk in, they're ready? What about basic skin prep? Cleansing, draping, setting up supplies? Does this require your clinical judgment, or could support staff handle this? Post-treatment photography. Are you taking before and after photos yourself, or do you have a standardized protocol where staff can take this over? What about the treatment room turnover? Are you the one that's cleaning and resetting your own rooms in between patients? Documentation. Are you handwriting notes or typing everything out yourself? Are you using voice to text and templates, or maybe even AI and smart phrases? Patient education. Are you explaining the same post-care instructions verbally every single time? Or do you have video content, handouts, automated text reminders that can do this for you? Now, here's the key question that HaloBraid is forcing us to ask. Which part of our service delivery require our specific expertise, judgment, and which parts are just tasks that need to get done? Because here's what happens when you don't differentiate. You end up spending 60% of your time on things that don't require an advanced degree or board certification. You're basically a very expensive medical assistant doing work that someone making $20 an hour could do just as well and maybe even better. Now, the HaloBraid model, they identified that 80% of braiding time was mechanical installation, something that could be standardized and automated. The other 20%, that's the consultation, design, parting and those finishing touches. That's where the braider's artistry really lives. There's a book, I think it's The Big Leap, and they talk about working in your zone of genius. This is in alignment with that. So now with this technology, they're able to automate 80% to free up, automate the 80% to free up capacity and energy for the 20% that actually matters. So this is your action item. I want you to do the same exercise this week. Track your time for your typical 3 days of work. Break down every 30 minutes into 1 or 3 categories. High value clinical work. This is something that requires your training and judgment, like consultations, procedure execution, and complication management. Category number 2, this is medium value coordination. Could be delegated with proper training. This is patient education, documentation, scheduling complex cases, and then low value administrative work. This is something that you can systemize, or it can completely be eliminated. Waiting for numbing, basic prep, phone calls that could be automated. And I bet after doing this exercise this week, you'll be able to get back 40 to 50% of your time, because 50% of categories 2 and 3 fall into that group. That's your braid down. That's what you need to systemize, delegate, or automate. And before I forget, I do want to say, because I'm a big proponent of AI, and it certainly is super helpful when time and capital are limited. But now that AI is so ubiquitous, what we're seeing is that when you're able to provide that personal touch, that's becoming the premium service. And so even with this example, there might be 80% of your questions or conversations that are being had where they can be automated. And you can differentiate yourself from another business by that 20% magic that you're able to provide. Do you come in after they've filled out their forms, taken a survey, been evaluated by your other staff? Where can you add that touch that's going to help someone still feel like they're getting premium service, even though it's not taking up the bulk of your time? So let's do some math. So again, let's look at the braiding. So the traditional braiding economics, 1 client equals 6 hours. So in an 8-hour workday, 1 client plus some admin time, it was taking up the bulk of the time. So you have the 8-hour workday, 1 client plus admin time. That was consuming 8 hours of the day. They're going to hit a ceiling when it comes to revenue. Price per client times 5 to 6 clients per week. Now with HaloBraid, you get 1 client equals 1 hour. Let's say the exact time might actually vary, but in that 8-hour workday, now you're able to see 6 to 7 clients, especially if you're averaging around an hour. The revenue potential here just increased by 6 to 7 times the capacity. That's not 10% improvement. That's a complete business model transformation. Not only that's beneficial for you, but once you master something, guess what? You're not the only one struggling. You can go out there and teach everyone else how to do it. That's really the goal, is to teach someone else how to do what you've mastered. So let's talk about you. How many patients can you see in a day, right? Let's say you're doing microneedling. Right now, let's say your consultation's 15 minutes. Let's say numbing is 20 minutes, and maybe you're just waiting. Treatment, 30 minutes. Post-care education, 10 minutes. Total, 75 minutes per patient. In an 8-hour day, you might see 6 patients total. Now, if you optimize your model, applying this efficiency thinking that we see with HaloBraid, let's say that consultation is still 15 minutes and that's you. But the numbing is delegated to your MA, who's going to do this immediately upon arrival while you're seeing another patient, 20 minutes, right? Treatment time, 30 minutes, that could be you. The post-care, 5 minutes. You confirm that they understand, but you also provide them that video, a handout, and automated text to do the rest of the heavy lifting. Total time, 50 minutes of your time per patient. In an 8-hour day, you might be able to see now 9 patients. That's from 6 to 9. That's a 50% increase in capacity without working longer hours, without compromising quality, and without burning out. Now, here's what most of us do instead. We keep the inefficient model because that's how we've always done it. And we hit capacity, we get a wait list. And instead of optimizing the system, we might raise our prices, which can price some patients out. That's not always a bad thing. We might work longer hours, which leads to that burnout that we talked about. We might bring on another provider, and if we're ready, that's great. But if not, it could be expensive and creates management complexity. Now, HaloBraid says, what if you just fix the system? Your time is finite. You cannot create more hours in the day. Therefore, the only way to scale is to increase the value of each hour. Charge more, but you can hit a ceiling in the market. Increase efficiency of each hour so you can see more patients in the same time, you as in your team. And then leverage your expertise to generate income even when you're not working. That's making money in your sleep. Think about it: courses, products, or even delegation. HaloBraid does number 2. It massively increases efficiency. And you need to be thinking about all three. Now, before we go any further, just take a minute to take in what we've already discussed. If you're getting value from this and you're thinking differently about your practice efficiency, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that when I go live, you can always come in and join me and I can answer your questions in real time. You'll be notified when new videos drop. And you'll be the first to be notified about changes that we have going on. But the main thing is answering your questions, because when your questions are answered, you can take action. And that's the main thing we want you to do, is take action. That's what holds everybody back. Now, what happens is the fear that comes up whenever we talk about automation or technology in personal service industries. So won't this make it less personal? Won't it remove the human touch? Won't clients feel like they're just getting a factory experience? I get that. We're having these conversations right now, especially with AI. How do we still maintain those personal connections? Okay. If you're in the cosmetic industry, clients come because they trust you and judgment, your skill, and your artistry. But here's what Halo teaches us. Technology doesn't replace your artistry. It doesn't replace your relationship that you develop with your client. It amplifies it by removing the mundane so you can focus on the meaningful. Think about it. The braider using HaloBraid still does the consultation, so that's understanding what your client wants. They do the design, that's choosing the style, the pattern, and the placement. And the parting, that precision work that affects the final look. And then the finishing, those edges, securing any flyaways, and that relationship. It makes them feel seen, heard, and valued. HaloBraid doesn't replace any of that. It just handles the repetitive middle work, the part where the braider is essentially a human machine doing the same motion over and over. And you're not just getting your time back, you're getting your client's time back. I don't know who wouldn't benefit from that, especially depending on if your client is another busy entrepreneur, an executive, anyone in healthcare, students, people who are strapped for time, moms. In aesthetic medicine, you already are doing this, right? You already understand this concept about what technology can and cannot do. Lasers don't replace your clinical judgment about settings, patient selection, or treatment plans. They just deliver energy more precisely and consistently than we can do manually. Microneedling devices, they don't replace your technique and pressure control. They just ensure consistent depth and needle penetration. And 3D imaging, it doesn't replace your aesthetic eye. It just gives you the patient objective data to support your recommendations. The pattern is clear. Good technology handles the technical execution so you can focus on the things that only you can do. Assessment and diagnosis, treatment customization, patient education and that relationship, complication management, and that artistic refinement. Bad technology tries to replace judgment with algorithms. That doesn't work in medicine or aesthetics. Good technology removes the friction and the repetition so your expertise really stands out. And here's what this means for you. When you evaluate a new device or software, you want to ask these questions. Does this handle something repetitive, time-consuming, or physically demanding? Does it free me up to focus on high judgment, high-skill activities? Does it improve consistency and quality? And does it enhance, not diminish, the patient experience? If you can answer yes to all 4 of these, you're looking at HaloBraid style innovation. If it's trying to replace your clinical judgment, reconsider. So let's talk about the business model problem that most cosmetic NPs are facing. Trading your time for money. You see patients, you get paid. You don't see patients, you don't get paid. This is called the linear income model. It has a hard ceiling because the numbers of hours there's a limited number of hours that you can work physically. If you followed me for I think I've been doing this for 2 years, this YouTube channel. one of the first things I ever talked about was that the people who get paid to think are the people who get paid the most. Just think about it. So, linear income model. HaloBraid breaks this model by multiplying what one practitioner can accomplish in the same amount of time. But there are other ways to break the linear model. And you need to be thinking about this if you want a sustainable, scalable practice. Let's look at 3 ways that you can break the time for money cycle, which is how we're raised, right? So the leverage technology, this is that HaloBraid model. You can use tools and systems that increase your output without increasing your hours. Think about automated marketing, email, social media scheduling, patient self-scheduling systems, digital consent forms and intake, batch created patient education content. One video can reach 1,000 clients. Number 2, leverage people. This is where we get into delegation. Train and empower your staff to handle tasks that don't require your license. Examples, you can get an MA to apply numbing or taking photos, setting up rooms. You can have estheticians performing dermaplaning, facials, or other scope-appropriate services. You can have admin handling scheduling, billing, and inventory. If you're the clinical director and business owner, you're not the only person generating revenue. And number 3, leveraging your expertise. This is where we start to get into that semi-passive income, where you can create assets that generate income even when you're not actively working. So these examples is your online courses where you can teach other NPs your technique, digital products like skincare guides, procedure ebooks, patient education resources. You can create affiliate partnerships with skincare or device companies, consulting or speaking engagements, sharing your thought leadership, or product lines if you're at that stage. We've done this at the Alliance. Actually, at the time that you're watching this, we're in the middle of publishing our next publication, which is the Ethnic Hair Clinical Protocols, Volume 1, Evidence-Based SOPs for Extension, Weaves, and Wigs. It's going to include clinical scripts, staff training, and practice implementation for our dermatology and cosmetic nurse practitioners, so you and your staff can put all of this into practice. Now, the HaloBraid represents leverage strategy number 1, the technology. But the most successful aesthetic NPs, you're going to use all 3 of these. And this is why this matters, because if you're still in a pure time for money model, 5 years from now, you're going to burn out. You'll hit your income ceiling and you'll resent your business. But if you're strategically building leverage through technology, people, and assets, you'll have a business that supports your life instead of consuming it. So this is your action steps. Ask yourself, what's one technology that you could adopt this quarter that would save you 5 or more hours a week? Now, all these questions, you can sit and think about it. You can plug them into your favorite AI tool and save even more time. And what's one task I currently am doing that I could train someone else to do? What's one piece of expertise that I could package into a product and sell repeatedly? Now, when it comes to what's one technology you can adopt, you can go to ChatGPT. You can ask your team. What's one task I'm currently doing that I can train someone else? Ask them. They've worked with other people. What were they doing in other places that they would love to do that they'd be happy to get training on? And what's one piece of your expertise that you could package in product and sell? Again, you can go to your favorite AI tool. You can ask your network, and you can ask the people that work for you. I said ChatGPT. I personally use all of them: Claude, Gemini, Google, and ChatGPT. I think that's and Notebook LM. But pick one of these, implement it, and monitor over the next 90 days. See how that works, and then do another one. You always want to introduce one new intervention at a time so you can measure that that's the one that's actually working. And a book that you can use when it comes to understanding systemization is Systemology. And you can even give it to one of your staff members, and they can take off and run with it. And so the final lesson, and this is going to be the most strategic, so pay attention to what's happening in adjacent beauty industries. That's kind of what I bring to you. This is where you're going to see your future. HaloBraid is happening in hair care right now. Similar innovations are coming to cosmetics tomorrow, or they're already here and you're not paying attention. Let me give you some examples. So we have AI-powered skin analysis. We see this with companies like SkinCeuticals and L'Oreal. Others are using AI to analyze skin conditions, recommend treatments, and predict outcomes. This is the aesthetic equivalent of HaloBraid, automating the diagnostic and planning phase. We see robotic-assisted procedures. Hair transplant robots already exist. How long before we see robotic assistants in filler placement, laser treatments, or other aesthetic procedures? At-home devices, LED masks, microcurrent devices, at-home laser hair removal. These are bringing professional level technology into our homes. What does this mean for your business? Well, you need to offer something that people can't get at home. And then, of course, teleaesthetics. These are your virtual consultations, prescription skincare delivered at home, online courses teaching self-care, already happening. The pandemic just accelerated this. And you can hear a pattern here. Technology is moving aesthetic services toward greater efficiency, doing more in less time. Enhanced consistency, removing that human error from the repetitive task. Improved accessibility, making services available to more people. Democratization, bringing professional level care to consumer directly. And this is what you understand. You can either lead this transition or be disrupted by it. And if you lead, you're the practice that adopts smart technologies early. You're positioned as innovative and cutting edge. You attract patients who value efficiency and expertise. And you differentiate from competitors still doing things the old way. Because it takes time to make changes, especially when you have teams and you have an established clientele. Everyone, that whole change behavior, everyone's resistant to change. I just had a strategy session yesterday with a nursing staffing agency, and we talked about this very thing. She was explaining to me who the big player is in her market, and I was showing her, which we know when you're bigger, let's say you're a big company or you have a lot of followers, it's a lot harder for you to maintain that engagement and those personal touches when you go to 10,000 as opposed to 1,000. And so same thing with her. There's less people's decisions that have to be considered, less money involved, and you could just move more nimbly. So don't overlook the fact that you might be a smaller fish in the big pond. You can probably make changes much quicker and stand out much faster than the big ones. So the HaloBraid lesson, Yinka didn't wait for someone else to solve the braiding efficiency problem. She built the solution herself. You can leverage your expertise as a clinician to people doing this. You don't have to be the one that goes back to school to become a biomechanical engineer. You can just leverage your expertise, or you can partner with someone like her who doesn't have the clinical background that you do. You don't have to invent new aesthetic devices, but you do need to stay informed about emerging technologies. Either you can adopt them into your practice or at least be able to have those conversations with your client when they bring them up. Evaluate them critically. Not every innovation is going to be a good fit for you. Adopt strategically when the evidence supports it, and communicate effectively to patients about why you're using these tools. When it comes to the evidence, how are you getting exposure to that? Are you taking time out during the day, during the week? Are you part of a membership that's bringing that to you? Do you have someone on your staff who that's been their job? So you do want to think about that because this evidence might already be available. The future of cosmetic medicine will be built by NPs who understand both art and systems. Just like art and science of our practice, it's literally the same thing. So I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comment what's one busy work task that you can already identify that you'd love to automate or delegate. Is it your documentation, patient education, scheduling, treatment room setup? Let's learn from each other. What you're doing to reclaim your time and focus on what actually matters. This is what we do inside the Alliance. We encourage our members to share the challenges that they're facing so that together we can find solutions that work and that we can do much quicker and more efficiently than if we're trying to do it by ourselves. That whole working in silos and suffering in silence, we really, really want to dismantle that. Maybe you can help me do that in 2026. And so what I want you to walk away with today is HaloBraid isn't just a cool technology for braiders. It's a business case in efficiency, scalability, and innovation that every aesthetic NP needs to study. Even if you don't want to build a billion-dollar clinic, but you want to be able to have that flexibility and those options and have a practice that's very attractive to talent. When you can, when you're hired, so that one of the struggles people have is finding good talent. And you have to think about what are you presenting when people are coming. So consider, if I come to this, think about if you've worked in different hospitals or different clinics, you know that the ones that have the latest technology, that are more modernized, tend to be a little bit more attractive and appealing, and you can usually get more done in less time, because otherwise you're doing workarounds, things are slowed down, the morale goes down, resources are not utilized properly, you're hearing about it all the time. And so technology is not necessarily something that's a bad thing, and not all technology can be delegated to your teenage child or intern because they're young or techie, or because they grew up like this. Some of this stuff is not really that complicated to just have it implemented. We are doing complex diagnosis, setting up complex treatment plans, and doing some complex evaluations. So we can do this. It's just about having an open mind as to what that's going to look like for you and your business. So what you're going to do is you're going to identify your busy work and systemize it, or get rid of it altogether. Protect your time ruthlessly. It's your most valuable asset. I actually have a whole accountability team to help me protect my time. Use technology to amplify your artistry, not replace it. There's so much cool tech out here. In fact, since I saw you the last time, I attended Afrotech right here in Houston, which is the largest Black tech conference, like 40,000 people in attendance. Over the last few years, they've been getting feedback that they wanted more health-related content. So this year they had that, and next year there's going to be 2 whole days related to the health stack. Right now it's early bird pricing. You can get in, it's like 800 something. It's going to be in November next year, right there at the Georgia Brown Convention Center. You cannot miss it. Everything from the lady who created hers to L'Oreal. They did give out products, financial literacy. Man, I should have wrote a list. There was a lot of good stuff. A lot of things that would align with you, partners that I met that's going to help me carry out my vision. And it was just a room of people who are innovative, and they already drank the Kool-Aid. They're open to hearing about what you're doing. They're open to partnering with you. People here and across the globe who want your thought leadership, who are going to ask you questions about your clinical expertise, so that as they're building and developing. It was awesome. It was awesome. I hope I see all of you there next year. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful opportunity. And then we want you to break that time for money model, right? By leveraging technology, people, and assets. Watch adjacent industries to see what else you can do to make yourself stand out, and see where cosmetics could be going. You didn't go to graduate school to spend your days on tasks that don't require your expertise. We gave that up, right? You built your skills to make a real impact on patients' lives, to help them feel confident, beautiful, and cared for. And remember, when you delegate, that gives someone else a chance to build their skills and build their confidence and invest in the things that you're building. People really rally around that. But you can't do that if you're burned out, if you're maxed out and you're stuck in inefficient systems. HaloBraid proves that even ancient artistry-driven services can be reimagined for efficiency without losing their soul. Your aesthetic business can do that too. Who would have thought that there was anything you could do with braiding, right? It just takes stepping back and taking on a different perspective and listening to other people, going to different rooms, other industries, see how other people solve problems, and then just talk to them and listen, and it will come to you. It really will. You can go to the Mahogany Dermatology blog, check out our series on Beyond the Needle. And if you're serious about building a profitable, scalable cosmetic business, then we welcome you to join the Alliance. That's our private coaching and mentorship community for our NP founders, where we dive deep every week into business strategy, operational efficiency, skin of color, and how to build a business that supports the life you want to live. That link is in the description box. Come back every week. We're releasing new videos on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Central Time. 11 a.m. Central Time here on YouTube and on LinkedIn. Subscribe so you don't miss a beat, especially when I go live, so I can answer your questions directly. I thank you all for being here. And let's see, I think that's all the announcements that I have. I thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.